Welcome to the Christian Life Coach Collective. I'm Laura Malone, and I help people just like you use your wisdom and your story to grow as coaches and entrepreneurs, because I believe you're called to create great impact and real income. So your next right step starts right here. Hello, friends. I didn't know what this conversation was going to turn into, but it just ended up going the way that it needed to go. And in the end, it was kind of a live coaching session. So this is what we're doing. I love it. Today's episode is with Sterling and Stone coach Laschl Fox. I'm super grateful for her jumping on. She's been on before in a couple of different ways. She's going to be on the Storymakers podcast as well, because she is a marriage coach and relationship coach, and she works with women who are married that want to have healthy marriages, be healthy moms. And I love her so much. She's been with Sterling and Stone for a couple of years, maybe more. We've been working together, and she recently retired from her job working at the church she attends. That's a major life transition on its own, right? But she didn't retire so that she could slow down and sit home and do nothing. She knows that she's called to coach. She wants to have a vibrant coaching practice. She wants to do the things that are in her heart to do. She's been building towards it for years. So she's set up a lot of the process that that we've walked through. I've taught her how to do and everything. But again, she's a mom and a grandmother, and she was working and very busy in the summer with VBS and all of those things. And yeah, she's doing what she can to take one next step and be faithful at it. She's laid the groundwork, but now she's in the space where you probably know it as a new coach or a coach that's trying to grow your business. You believe that you're called, you know that there's fruit, you know you help people, but growth in your business hasn't happened the way that you thought it would. And especially when you find yourself finally ready to go full-time coachpreneur and not be a hobby coach or have a side gig, So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about identity. We're talking about money stories. We're talking about testimony of what God has done in you and your own life. And we're talking about imposter syndrome. It's not something you just deal with once and forever and it's always gone. It's actually a lie that you stop agreeing with. You exchange it for the truth, like that great exchange. What does Jesus say? And then choosing to live from that. We get really practical. Testimonials, clear calls to action, lead magnets, clarifying who you really serve, considering things like group coaching. What is the next step? So basically at the core, this episode is about transition, going from side effort to full-on commitment, right? From being hesitant about things to walking in your authority. From waiting for something to happen and, I built it, when are they going to come? To intentionally building everything that you know you're called to create and then communicating it. So if you're in a season of stepping into something bigger, this conversation is going to be really familiar to you, but also really empowering. So introducing Coach Laschl.
I'm praying that God will give me 5 weekly clients is what I would really like. I retired officially in December.
Congratulations.
Thank you. The actual last day of employment was when my daughter had her baby.
Oh,
December 31st. So
wow. That was a big day.
So I don't really feel like I've gotten into a real new normal. I've been in Houston a lot, but really enjoying just freedom to do what I feel led to do, work more on this. And so I don't know that I should expect a whole lot more, but I kind of was like, it's just going to happen, right? But it hasn't just happened.
Yeah, that's one of my top podcasts is actually about that myth. If I start a business, clients will find me. If you build it, they will come. But it's actually, if you build it, he will come.
Yeah.
That's an actual line in the movie. It's not that they will come. He will come. And I know that hardship is, and I know you have been faithful for years in like building, and you've been building a community, building your email list, like just building content. And through all of that, I know that you've been developing your message, your heart. I've watched you develop that just by taking little steps. You know so much more than you did when we first started working together years now ago. Like you are in a different place, and
Yeah.
maybe you don't have, $10,000 months. It doesn't matter. You know something today because you started taking action years ago, and you started thinking about it and you worked a full-time job, and you were always serving, and you didn't have very many days off because you worked at a church. So you don't really get a day off when you work at a church because you got to be there on the weekends. And then have kids, and you have grandbabies, and you're great at all of that. And you care about your marriage and your house. And then you're taking care of all the women. And now you're saying you're meeting women are coming to your house every other Monday, which is funny because I'm starting to have women come to my house every other Monday. So it's like Monday's a good night. And that means that you're constantly pouring yourself out. And now you're in a new season of, I don't have that job all of the time. But because you started what you did when you had that job and you poured little bits in, you're someplace different today. You're not starting from with like scratch, no foundation.
Right.
Once you retired, you actually are stepping into something. You've already laid some groundwork, which I'm really proud of you for doing. But you're like, I get your emails and I read them, and I'm like, I would say I'm thinking you must have people you're working with because you're hitting all the pain points. You've got some sweet spots in there, like the content, what you're creating, and you're speaking and you're pointing out like, this is hard for you. And here are some really tangible things that you could do. Like one, always pointing people back to the Lord, but then also saying, have you considered this? And just you're actually telling people to do what you have done. Take one small step.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that to me says that you are a product of your own coaching, because that's what you've done is you've shown how just take one small step. And now that's what you're coaching people. And you said, these women coming to your house, you don't have the same exact life experience that they're in, but you do have the ability to facilitate their process and journey one small step at a time, because you know how to take it one small step at a time. And that's what they're coming to you is like, she lets me take one small step at a time. And she just holds space for me. That's really powerful.
Yeah, that's very true. And I appreciate that. I do think the biggest person who has benefited from this journey is myself, which is the way it ought to be, right? And my marriage is so much better. It's so hilarious. My husband will go, I'll say, do you want to watch my reel? Do you want to hear my email? And he goes, is it about me? It's always about me. And we were having some dinner with some friends, and the guy goes, it's not about you. She always makes it about her. And I'm like, thank you. But my husband's like, nope, it's always about me. But he's very encouraging. And
yeah.
And my girls are like, Dad, it does not sound like she's talking about your marriage. That is not what it sounds like.
That's so funny. That's his interpretation.
Yeah. Like she just let it fall out there. And I'm like, well, if it helps somebody,
That's so good.
Honestly, also being around my girls and spending a couple days with them overnight, observing their marriages, observing their lives. I don't say a word. I don't ever say a word. I'll ask, how can I pray for you? Those kind of things. And if they talk, but I am so careful not to give advice, but I do have an outlet for advice.
Right?
Comes straight through my emails. And so I think I've, like I said, even if I don't make $1, and I've had clients about 2 a week, pretty consistent. And that's not counting, of course, the ones friends I just meet with, or, people who just text me and stuff. But now I would like to kind of see that increase in God's time.
Yeah. And you're also like mentally, I would think that you're at a little bit of a different place because you did retire and you don't have that other job. One, it's not supporting you, but you're not supporting it. So you don't have that energy being poured out into somebody else's
Yeah.
everything that you're supporting. You actually get to think about, how do I support me now? And your job is still supporting other people, but it's different. And now you get to put on the business owner hat and actually see yourself as a business owner, not somebody with a side gig or a
Yeah.
hobby, right?
Yeah.
It's like level up.
Yeah. One thing our pastor kept on saying, Lachelle's going to retire and be grandma. And I'm like, could you change that just a little bit? Because I can't wait to be the grandma, the lolly. But I am I want people to know that I'm going to be a coach. And so he really did, and has really changed the words. She wants to help married people. She wants to help others. She's continuing her ministry. And I'm like, this is not an end point. This is just a transition. And so I appreciated that, because that was my heart's goal all along. It's not just to retire and do nothing. Anyway, and also I also think my grandkids are young now, and I haven't had them all, I don't believe, but once they get in those elementary, middle school years is when they'll be like, not have as much time for Wally or need me, and that's when I'm like going to be cooking, and I love hearing my girls say, well, Lolly has to go home now because, she's a coach and she has people that she's going to meet with. And my grandson, the only one who understands, is 4.5. Really? Oh, yeah, that she helps people understand how, more about Jesus. Can she help me know more about Jesus?
Oh,
Coming from his parents who are always pouring into him. But, just for him to know that that's important. And anyway, that's been beautiful. And I've had taken coaching calls there, which is what I wanted to do all along, being able to be mobile.
right.
And them just really respecting that time. And anyway, that's been super cool.
So what do you think that's like for you right now to put on? You've taken off the church job hat and you have the grandma hat and the mom hat and the wife hat still, but now you have a business owner hat. You've had the coach hat because you've been coaching for a long time, whether you had a business or not, you've been coaching. But now you have a new hat of a full-time business owner. Do you feel like you've ever put that on your head yet? Or is it, did I just give you a hat for the first time?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Thanks for the hat.
Here's your hat.
I still feel like I'm growing into it, I guess, is how I feel, because again, because people aren't busting down my door, but I do feel very confident in what I have to offer. I really do. And the people who I coach are just so grateful. And even when they stop coaching with me, I see them reading my emails multiple times, and I'm, like they just want more, even though they're not. So I think that's really good. I've changed my verbiage, trying to be more aggressive or just more out there about asking for the business. If this is something, click the link.
Yes.
So hoping, and I've kind of settled in on a cost that I feel really good about. 4 sessions for $150, which is more than I've charged before. But I asked ChatGPT, and I'm like, okay, why is my business not taking off? And it was very insightful conversation, I will say. And it was like, you're not charging enough because people need to know that you have something of value. And you need to ask for the business, was specifically what I took away from the conversation. But I'm like, but there's people out there who aren't going to add it to their budget. They're just not. They need it, but they're not going to pay for it. So that's what I grapple with.
Okay. So a couple of things like ChatGPT is right because your cost reflects value created. And if you're looking at your cost as something that people have to strive to reach and suffer to pay, it will reflect the belief that you have in the work that you're doing. But it also reflects like, do you value what you bring in each session? And think about like what people don't pay for coaching. They don't pay for your time. They pay to turn off the Zoom, shut their computer, leave like the office space they've met you with, and go home with hope. They pay to say, I have so much more hope. I have so much more clarity. I have so much more joy. And you know what? People are willing to pay hundreds for that
Yeah.
because they're not paying you so they can pay your bills. So you can't sell to people to pay your bills. And this is about getting out of your head and into theirs so that when you tell people the cost of this is going to be not financial, the greater cost is going to be, are you willing to show up for yourself? This is going to be uncomfortable. If somebody's not willing to pay something financially, they're probably not. There's always reasons. They don't know what they actually want. They haven't determined like actually want to change, right?
Okay.
They don't know. They don't realize the value that you're offering them, which is a you issue because you haven't expressed the value to the level that they get it. They don't have clarity about the value that you offer.
Mm.
And oftentimes, if you tell me that your session is $49, then would I be willing to pay $99? Yes. 49 actually tells me like, so what does she do if she only charges $49? How much value am I going to get out of that? If we think about it from the coaching side, the business side, that we have to lower the price to get people can actually really work against yourself. Now, I always say, like, and I trained you that way in the beginning, start somewhere. And while you're practicing, you can offer free sessions and you can offer lower cost and then also create a benevolence plan.
Right.
But now you've been coaching for some years, whether you're charging or not.
Yeah.
So you actually have the experience and the tools and what God has given you to guide people from point A to point B. You have that and you can charge whatever you want. But if you don't believe that you create $100 worth of value in one session, then when you tell somebody it's $100, they're not going to believe you because you don't believe yourself, right? So it's a struggle. I know that is there, but it is a money story. And you also have to think about the fact that the benefit of making the offer to people is that they know that you can help them. So if you never sell them coaching, you never get to serve them.
Yeah.
So if you make the offer and you sell them something that is good for them, I was just working with a client yesterday, and I said, if we were having this pretty much the same conversation, I've had this with a lot of coaches, is if Tide never told you that they help clean your clothes, then how would you know to buy Tide?
Yeah.
All they're doing is saying, we are soap, we are powerful, we will clean your clothes because did you know your clothes are dirty?
That's good.
But if they never said that,
Yeah.
then you would not buy Tide because you're like, I don't even know what Tide is. I don't know my clothes are dirty. I don't know that there is soap out there that could clean them. I don't know there's a better soap I could use than what I could, the other one. So they're selling soap because not just to make money, but they're actually thinking about you and serving you and then meeting the need, but they have to tell you about it. So selling is just telling people that you serve them. And your mind has to change around that belief system that you offer value and that people want that value and they would be willing to pay for it is true, because they pay other coaches hundreds of dollars a session, and they pay counselors, and they pay massage therapists, and they pay Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
I mean, I spend a lot of money at Chick-fil-A. I don't know about else. Well, maybe I would say my daughter spends a lot of money at Chick-fil-A because she uses my app. Every time I change my password, she finds it. So, but there's money going out somewhere, and it's rather matter of, are you letting people know that the money could come to you, but it's not about the money because you're interested in serving. But if you sell coaching to people, that is serving them.
So true. And that's why I want to build this business, because I truly feel like I can help people. And I have a client now worth a lot of money. And she got in before the first of the year. And so she's like, that's all you charge? She said, oh my gosh, I've been going to a counselor who charges so much more than that, and I get nothing out of it. And you are doing so much more. And I'm like, it was helpful. It was helpful for me to know that she felt that way, specifically comparing me to a therapist that she just had been to, So, and you give me follow-up notes and things to do. And I don't even have to take notes because you take notes for me. I mean, the first day she was trying to take all these notes, and it just, anyway, it was good because it helped me realize that it kind of reaffirmed that I am offering a value. So now,
and also somebody be willing to pay it. If you tripled, quadrupled that cost, she'd still be willing to pay it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Which you're gonna do.
I am.
And then you'll let her know that your prices have gone up and say, thank you for helping me do that. I'll give you one last chance to book at this price, but it's going up as of that date.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you got feedback from somebody that helped you create belief in the value you create. And what you didn't have before that is, it sounds like you didn't get the feedback yet that what you're offering is so valuable, people would like to pay more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think. And how to get that word out, and I just need to kind of do some more wordsmithing and really be intentional with my reels and emails on how to sell, and tomorrow can be better if you sign up today. No, not any.
So here's one thing. If you will look at your own life and look at the results you've created in your own life and get to the foundation of what you have actually done, so that you can see, I'm a product of my own methods. I'm a product of my own revelation. I'm a product of my own coaching offer. What that is, there's a scripture somewhere about faith comes by hearing by the word. Like your testimony, you sharing what you have done, and that doesn't even mean that it has to be specific. I learned how to change my mind. I renewed my mind. I am transformed by the renewing of my mind. I'm not conformed to the patterns of the world when it comes to thinking about my marriage anymore. I took baby steps and I said, you know what I want for my future? I want this. And so I started a business, and it's been baby steps while I have finished out the other things I committed to do, I was responsible for, but now I have a foundation. As you testify on your reels, your emails, in front of anybody and everybody, as you begin to testify of how you are a product of your own transformation, like you've done this work, you've partnered with God in doing this work.
Yeah.
Other people are going to say, which they're already saying to you, how'd you do that? And can you help me? And so it's not about you getting on a reel and having the magic, I think of like Sesame Street. What are the magic words? A la peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And I like, is that count, whatever the count on there or something? And I just think like, there's no magic word that calls people in, you do have to make offers.
Yeah.
You do have to tell them there's a way they can work with you. And you can be specific, like, you know what I can help you do. But honestly, if you just start talking about your own transformation and give testimony to the work of the Lord, people will come to you because that feels real and they want that experience too.
Yeah.
You don't have to beg people to be your clients. And I actually think in a lot of, let's say, Christianity as a whole, we plead with God and beg a lot. Please, Lord, would you please heal me? But the word says you are healed. Why are we pleading and begging for healing when the word says it's his will for us to be healed? Why do we not always see healing? Well, there's a lot of mystery in that we can seek out. But instead of begging and pleading, we have this, I think, especially as Christian women, we're just like, without somebody modeling how to declare the word of God, declare the truth, to pray in other ways where there is intercession. And sometimes there is, what's the other word for P? There's a type of prayer. I am asking God.
And interceding.
No, there's a P word.
P word. Praise.
There's just different types of prayer. And it's the kind of prayer that is like, I am asking you for this, Lord.
Okay.
It will come to me at the wrong time in our conversation later. But there's times where it's just like declaring the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Authoritative declarations. I agree with God. The word says that perfect love casts out fear, and I am in his perfect love. So I declare fear is gone in the name of Jesus. Instead of God, set me free from fear. It's like, no, receive my perfect love. It will cast out all fear. Partner and agree with the will of God. It is written. I have spoken it to you. I say that to say, sometimes that belief system that we have to plead, beg, it kind of infiltrates our other mindsets in life. Mm-hmm. And I could see that in my own life and business of what do I have to do to plead or beg other people to want to be my clients?
Yeah.
How do I have to not just pray, but how do I have to position and say the right thing and strive and put so much effort into it to only get crickets?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But when you declare the truth and you give testimony of God's faithfulness, it attracts people.
I think that's
if you want to talk about the, what do you call it? The law of attraction. I'm like, you know what that is? It's actually a spiritual law called faith. And when you give testimony, it builds faith. And that is a spiritual law. It operates for everybody. And you can call it whatever you want. And you can leave God out of it. But you can't leave God out of it. You can't actually separate him from it because it's the law of faith. So
I think you've really hit on something there because, I don't like to turn the focus to me or on me. However, testifying to God's goodness and God's, what God has done through me and to me and, in me, I mean, that's not turning it to me, right? It's turning it to God. So I think that testimony is really a powerful tool that I have not utilized. And it's really a real deal. I mean, my marriage is so much better than it was. And I really believe I have just dug in and learned and applied. And it can be better. It can be better.
Right.
So that's powerful. Thank you for that.
I will, just remind you too that you were created in his image and that there is the aspect of being true humility is to be able to say, I always use this example. When I say to a worship leader, That was so beautiful. You have a really powerful voice. Thank you for leading us in worship today. And if their response is, it's all him, I say, well, I did not see Jesus standing with that microphone. I saw you. I saw you partnering with God.
Mm.
And I just sometimes wish they would just say, thank you. In humility. Thank you.
Yeah.
I so enjoy leading worship with God. And I worked really hard to develop the skills to be able to do that with God. Because the reality is he is the best coach and he's the greatest business owner ever. He's the greatest ministry leader, but
what a great resource we have.
Right?
Yeah.
But we partner with him. And so it is us and it's him. He is Emmanuel with us. So we have the mind of Christ and then God uses our mind to impart things to the world. So you're not tooting your own horn by saying, you know what? I have these skills. I have this knowledge, wisdom, and experience. And I thank God he has given me the gift of being able to serve you from that place. Because when we separate it and we operate in the false humility,
right,
is pride. It's just the other side of the coin, right? So it is actually pride. And so when we leave ourselves out of it, then we say like, well, there's none of me that's of value. So how could you ever offer somebody from a place of belief that you create value if you think that there's no value in you because it's supposed to be only him?
Yeah.
Right. And then you don't want your clients. Why would you would never say that to your daughters. It was all God and none of you. What you did in your life to get that experience, knowledge, skills, or growth doesn't really matter because it was only God. So stop talking about you having gone to college because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It was only God. You would never say that to somebody else.
Right.
So that belief system infiltrates your paradigm, which infiltrates your emotion. And if the emotion is, I'm less than, because it's only God and it's only supposed to ever be God, then you're never going to tell people with full belief and confidence, I can help you and I want to. And I do it with him, you know?
It's really good.
And you are a powerful coach. You're a great leader and you are a great teacher. So you have so much to give and you have so much wisdom and experience. And obviously people like, I want to send my kids to your house. Can they live with you for a while? Because they need whatever it is that you can pour into them. And I would pay you. Like, and how much is rent? When including utilities and food. And actually, like, they can do chores at your house. So if that offsets it. But you carry all of that. And I know your heart is to partner with God. And so other people are going to see that. They just need more opportunity to see your partnership with God, the results you've created in your own life, and how you help other people get results. And you don't have to be manipulative in any way or set your own like point to me agenda. You just tell of the good works of the Lord and say, and yes, I do that with him. Because you know what you're going to tell clients is you're going to tell them it's not just God in your marriage. It's the work you did with God that transformed your marriage. You create value in your marriage. And that's what you want women to know. You create value in this parenting relationship you have. You create value as a mom and a wife, a daughter, a friend. So you have to be a product of that you understand your value and that you partner with God and then you pour that out into others.
Yeah.
But that's a really common thing that people, especially Christian women, really struggle with. Is I'm supposed to only point to him, so I can never tell anybody about me.
Yeah, it's so true. I can definitely feel that as a truth in my life. And yet, so I pour out all this information and never feel like there's the return on investment on that. But But I do think I was recently, my sister-in-law and I were talking. She has just ended a decorating business. She, it takes 3 to 5 years to establish a business. And so I really was like, that is so wise. And I'm still establishing. I mean, it's not like, hey, now I've retired and now I've arrived. So I think
Yeah.
just giving myself some grace and again, I've wanted this to be God's timing anyway. And um
Yeah.
that's what I'm trusting is happening. Um and who knows what tomorrow holds? Not me, but God does. But
Right.
that's really helpful to bring in the partnership that I have with God and just that transformation that He has made in me and my marriage through what I've learned.
Yeah. You're testifying of your partnership with him, his faithfulness to you. And when you do that, you show women that that's possible.
Yeah.
If you only ever say it was all God, then they never see a model of like how they should all live their own
Right.
lives because
They're
you
not
didn't have anything to do with it.
they're like, well, I wish you'd do that for me.
Right.
Yeah.
But so that's part of that is we tend to like that idea that if it is all God, then we don't have personal responsibility.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true.
And then we remove ourselves from, well, if it didn't happen, it must not have been God. Well, it didn't happen. The car doesn't go because you didn't turn it on. The car doesn't go because you didn't put it in drive. The car doesn't go because you didn't put your foot on the gas. Jesus is in the passenger seat going, I can't wait till we get there. But I am not going to control you. I gave you free will. I'm not going to control you and make you get in the car, but I know it's in your heart to get in the car. So I went and got in and I'm waiting. And then in that place, I don't know how to say this better than like, I think that sometimes we're afraid that we're not partnered, we're not connected with God. And so we don't trust ourselves because we think that if we do it ourselves, he leaves us.
Mm.
He's disconnected or separate from us if we were to get in the car without getting the audible word that we should get in the car. Instead, it's like trust in what God has already told us.
Yeah.
And in his word, he's already said he would equip us for what we're called to. He's already told us, write the vision plainly so that those who read it can run. So if there is a word, like write it, lay it out, get it clear. What is in your heart? Because you look like your dad. So what's in your heart came from your dad. He designed that. So we just don't grow up with people affirming that what's in us is good.
Yeah.
And we don't get the affirmation that we can trust ourselves and trust God within us
Yeah.
to be excellent or to be profitable or to be innovative or just to be good in general. And we see ourselves as less than, and we see ourselves, and you know what? That is just such a lie from the enemy
Yeah.
that it feeds you don't look enough like your dad yet. You don't have permission. You still have to be better. You don't know enough yet. Who are you to talk? And then all of us, we get
That
muted.
imposter syndrome for sure.
Yeah.
Really sneaks up now and then. I'm like, oh, I'm sitting here writing this email, putting out this reel, and I'm like, I don't even think I'm living up to that right now. But I remember all the times you've told us to pray against that imposter syndrome and just keep on going, which has been really helpful. And like you said, just taking that next step, just believing when you don't even believe, when you're not sure. And it's been good. And honestly, I just think I am so excited to put out more content. I mean, I could sit every day, all day and put out more information because I feel like there's people who are just seeking that help, and there is a community an audience on social media that trusts me, right? And so they're looking for that because they don't know who to trust on social media, but especially the email server that I have, with the, with 68 emails now. And
Remember the day you had 0?
I don't remember that day, but at 35, not been that long ago. So
0 was when you didn't have an email list.
that's true. That's
And then you said, I'm going to take one small step and start it.
right. And it has not been that long ago.
Right. And you have 68 people who are engaged, which is more valuable than 10,000 who aren't.
Yeah. Who are just like scroll, scroll, scroll,
Yeah.
scroll. Yeah.
Yeah. The email list is a really powerful part of your journey because when Instagram goes down, you still have your email list.
Yes.
And you can constantly nurture them. And it's when they're reading your email, there's no other, of course, there's other emails in their inbox above and below, but they're not scrolling. Right.
No.
So it's the one-to-one, not one-to-many.
Yeah. Yeah.
Powerful place.
Yeah. And another thing that I'm very excited about, I am going to start attending every other Monday night that I'm not having my ladies group, a Hearing God for Your Business at a lady in our community. And as God would have it, it's the other Monday night that it's scheduled the other Monday night.
It's awesome.
My husband has become buddies with her husband. I know who she is, basically. So anyway, it's just, I'm really excited how God has just put this in my life because I'm all about that. Let's hear God for our business and let's pray God's will over this. And then also connect with some other ladies, right, who might need a coach.
Yeah.
Or know someone who needs a coach. So that's really cool coming up next Monday. And
What's awesome.
What's your Monday night group going to be?
My husband started a kind of a men's connection time on Monday nights, and all of the wives were like, that's not fair. We want to go because we see the transformation in you and we see what you're getting out of it. And so I've been planning on doing something for women here locally, but I was waiting until we bought a building or found a place to do it.
Okay.
And so I am just deciding okay, we're going to go to every other Monday so that he can have the guys over every other Monday and I leave. And then the women will come every other Monday and the guys will stay home with the kids.
Okay. Yes, that's good.
So, and then we, it's not like we're starting a church or anything, but we just have like a missional community. So it's like, come over, every month, have a Sunday of like, come over and hang out, eat, connect, grow together,
Very cool.
And yeah, the problem is like, I haven't even had the women's group at my house yet, but we've outgrown my house and there's too many, women are hungry. Like, it's so awesome. I love that the men can come here and my husband can disciple and lead them. But women are like, a lot of women don't get to leave home.
Yeah.
And have space during the day. They're like with the kids or whatever, especially younger moms or something. And we have so many responsibilities and things in our hearts for our people that we put ourselves aside for so long. And I love to be able to help people hear the Lord for their lives and their personal identity, purpose of belonging, their families, their kids, their spouses, and their marriages, and of course, their businesses. Who are you as a coach? Like, what does Jesus say about you as a business owner? Yeah. He's an entrepreneur. He's an apostolic, planting, gardening, and we look like God. So he's in us, with us, and working through us. So what's that look like for each one of us individually? And I don't know. The word for the prayer is petitioning prayer. Petitioning. I know it started with a P. Petitioning. So, yeah. And it's God, I need wisdom. I need help right now. And it's like nothing wrong with that, but then there's the declarative prayer is like, I already know what you've said. It's in the word. I've heard it from you. Like, I'm declaring that you're my refuge. I don't need to ask you to be my refuge or plead with you to be my refuge. You are my refuge. Then there's the lamenting prayer. Can't leave that out, even if it's like weird to read a whole book about the lamenting prophet or something. And then there's the listening prayer. And I do that a lot in coaching and just guide people through listening prayer. And let's see what God has to say about that. And let's go be with Jesus and invite him to speak into this.
Mm-hmm.
Then that intercession is standing in the gap for something or someone. And then I see as Thanksgiving as just the gratitude prayer of just pouring out that just leads to that place of praise and worship. And so I believe in petitioning the Lord at times. I just don't think it's not the only way to talk to him, right? To me, I just like to get in the car and talk to Jesus. I'm like, okay, he's in the passenger seat and we're just, as we go, we're just having a relationship and a conversation, and it's really regular. And then my husband's like, who are you talking to? Because I talk to Jesus like I talk to you or like a friend, and I'm kind of spicy and sarcastic, and he likes me like that. Jesus is witty and sarcastic, not mean sarcastic, but like fun sarcastic. I love that. So
good. So good.
I don't know where I was in that. I just petitioning came to me, and then all of a sudden I remembered all of it. I said it's going to be an inconvenient moment when that word comes back to me.
You worked it right in there.
So I just want to visit this for a second. So you have this new season. I just gave you a hat to put on. And you are now officially a full-time business owner. And this is your new baby.
Okay.
And it's no longer time. You've had a season of treating this like it was a side gig or a hobby or something you were cultivating. All of that time you were drawing a blueprint. You were dreaming about what's the interior design of it look like. You were testing out different types of cornerstones to build it from. You have been telling people about it. You've been teaching and cultivating your heart and who God is in you, who he's designed you to be. And now you've done all of that work. You're not starting from scratch, but you have a business that is a kingdom business, which is really now in this season, your ministry. Because a ministry isn't for profit or nonprofit. That's a governmental status. It's a piece of paper. Because I have both. And they're both my ministry. And on one of them, I just don't pay taxes if I pay for hot dogs at Costco to feed people. Like, that's the only difference. And I have to do a lot more work for a nonprofit to prove a bunch of stuff. It's actually much harder. But they're both ministry oriented because they're what I'm called to do to reach the world and be the hands and feet of Jesus the way only I can, doing what I'm called to do. You're doing that now. This is your season of ministry in a business. And it has to be treated like you're full in. Like, this is not separate any longer. God's called you to it. It works. You've seen results in your life and in other people's lives. And you want to do more of it, and you want to charge money for it so you can do more of it.
Yeah.
But also when people pay for it, they're invested at a higher level and they get more out of it.
I know. I know that.
So there's benefit on both sides. The more you get paid, the more you can do to serve more people.
Yeah.
And the more people who are invested, the more results and engagement and transformation actually occur. So the issue is not actually how much money does 55 minutes with you cost, because we're not charging for time.
Yeah.
You can charge as much as you want for time. In that case, I should be rich as a mom, right? They should have been paying me. I like a paycheck for the back pay. I retire.
But that never ends, though, friend. No, not
It doesn't.
the mama thing never ends, which we wouldn't want it to. So,
No, you do it for free all over again, But I think too, like some of that mindset is the struggle of I would do this for free because I get so much out of it and I help so many people. But the problem is if you do that, then you need to go get a full-time job doing something else.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what you've been doing for the past few years. You've been, you know what? I still need this full-time job until such a time as that.
Right.
But now it is such a time as this.
Yeah.
You're not looking for such a time as that anymore. We're here.
We're here.
Yeah. So setting yourself up now to be a business owner that knows that you need to make offers to let people know. And just think of that. Selling is just communicating.
Yeah.
It's not sleazy because you're not sleazy. Nobody was ever going to hear you say that you can help them and think that you're sleazy and manipulative because you offered to help them.
Right.
So that's where you have to get out of your brain and into theirs and go, you know what? How many times has somebody actually looked at you and said, I can help you with that. And I want to. Here's how.
Maybe you.
Okay. Well, that's great. I'm a product of my own coaching. That's good to know. But how valuable is it when somebody looks at you and says, I get it, and I can help you with that?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So now it's time for you to start telling people, I get it, and I can help you with that.
Yes.
And then you don't have to worry about selling anything because it's not about you trying to make money or like build your own $10 million empire without Jesus. That's not what you're doing.
No.
So don't let the enemy tell you that if you tell somebody that you can help them, that you're not leaving Jesus out and you're not sleazy and manipulative or slimy. You're not, that means like if you are sleazy and slimy and manipulative, then it's that picture of the car salesman and you drove home a lemon, but you don't coach anybody to own a lemon. Isn't that what you do?
No, not at all.
So that feedback that you got from your one client that said, that's all you charge, it's because she sees the value that you create and she would be willing to pay for that value.
Yeah.
So you said, there's so many women out there who can't or won't pay for coaching, but that's why you have free reels. Social media is a free place to create content and guide them until they can pay for coaching or want to. Your emails, my podcast, it's free content.
Yeah.
There's what is there? Almost 350 episodes of free content now. You can get a lot if you just apply it to yourself and practice some self accountability and some intentionality. You can use an entire podcast to coach yourself and learn to the thing that you want to do. And then when you're making some money, you can hire me as a coach or get your own coach and say I want to grow and scale from here. And you've been doing that. But you got the feedback from somebody. And I think that is really powerful instead of the crickets.
Yeah.
Just to have somebody to tell you,
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm your mom where you're like, well, of course you would say that. But I need somebody else to tell me.
I appreciate you saying because I that was powerful to me. And especially because she's another person that I know of. She's not a friend, she's just kind of objective. So I felt like that was really powerful. And I've written down 5 people that I have really coached over the last year that have been very, very complimentary and appreciative. And so
you're getting testimonials from them and having them write down those complimentary things.
I have. That's a little awkward too when they don't. Sure, I will, and then they don't. You're like, do I ask again?
Yes, you definitely ask again.
Okay, I'll ask again.
Because how many times does somebody ask you for something and it's in your text message, it's in your inbox, and you're like, I am totally going to do that. I want to do that. I feel bad that I haven't done it yet.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean you don't want to or you wouldn't. It just other things are louder. So you're going to have to get louder.
Yes, louder.
That just means repetition and clarity.
Okay.
Send an email, make it as simple as possible for them to write a testimonial.
Okay.
You can even give them a framework in an email, hit reply, and write one sentence in response to each of these things I'm asking.
Yeah.
Part of it is the thinking
The
fatigue that they have. They're like, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
give them the opportunity to say, what was your life like? Or what was this area of your life like before we coached? How would you describe that area of your life after coaching?
Right.
What are 3 words you would use to describe a coaching experience with me?
Oh, that's good.
So just give them guidance so they don't have to like figure it out for themselves because they've never written a testimonial for anybody except that one terrible restaurant where they got food poisoning on Yelp. Like that's all they know. So you have to tell them this is what I need from you.
Right.
If they're not responding, it's not because they wouldn't say it to the public. It's just because it's a time issue. It's not a priority, but they want to, or they just don't know what to say. So
Yeah.
simplify all of those things for them. And it's unheard to give somebody a deadline.
Could you do it? Yeah.
By the end of this week, would you mind hitting reply and just,
Yeah. Good.
And then, you know what? Even if you never put those testimonials anywhere, print them out and put them on your refrigerator and read them every day and be like, it's not crickets. There is actually feedback. There is proof that I'm pretty good at this thing called calling. But you will use those testimonials down the road, if not now. So they're worth collecting,
Good point. Good point. I should put that on my landing page actually, instead of what I have now. A few testimonials.
And in addition, just pop them in anywhere. People love to hear. I know that there's websites out there where there's like the entire landing page is like 50 testimonials, and I don't even care. I'm not going to read them.
No.
And at this point, I don't even believe you. Like, who had the time to
put all that down there?
Oh my gosh. But also those kind of things, when you see them on social media and when you see them like there's always the people who you see the ad on Instagram, you click on it, learn more, takes you to the landing page where they want to sell you their coaching offer or their program or their course or whatever. And you're scrolling and you're scrolling, and there's so many buttons because there are literally templates inside of the platform they use that tells them where to put it. And there's click now, learn more, I'm in, all of the stuff. And people do need some degree of that. But then you got the, you're scrolling. And it's like all of these testimonials of what people have said in the Facebook group or how amazing it is. And the person who has that and is doing that has a social media and marketing team doing this and fighting the algorithm and paying for ads on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah. And that is not you. Mm-hmm. So you don't need that because you're not doing that. Like, you're not at a place where you have a marketing and social media team so that you can be a great coach and they can be great at marketing what you offer.
Right.
Right. And so there's a measure of being a business owner where you have to understand marketing is just communicating. Selling is like actually serving and guiding people. But you don't have to try to catch up with what people are doing on social media.
Right.
Or do those things either.
Really, that's not my focus, is to, as much as I do appreciate seeing people who've watched my reels, and I'm not trying to reach the masses. I really just want to reach those friends and their friends. That's who I'm, not the masses. I don't think that's not what I'm doing. So
no.
So that's,
well, just don't feel the pressure when you see everybody out there. Remember, we always just don't compare your beginning to their middle or your middle to their end. And I think it's easy on social media to get into that, but it's just go for the testimonials, create a landing page that just looks natural and reflects you.
Yeah.
And because when it reflects you, it's authentic. And when it's not authentic and it's not reflecting you, you show up different. And
Yeah.
people will not want what you have because they can tell
Yeah.
you're not operating from the energy of like, this is real for me. Right.
Yeah.
But they will want what you have when you're like, I am totally in alignment with everything that my website or my landing page says, because that's just me talking.
Right.
So, and I think that's what you do in your reels. You just show up like, this is me. But also, this is me trying. I am trying and I am stretching, and it might not be comfortable, but I'm trying to authentically be me in a weird.
And it is scary and it is weird. And yeah, it's stretching for sure.
Yeah, it is.
It's good. And I like you've always said, you've got to start somewhere so you can then make it better.
Yeah. So good.
Well,
Well, this has been a great conversation.
good. I was trying to think of what it was that I'd said right before you started recording so we could replay that, but I can't remember what it was now, what we were talking about. But anyway, maybe you can.
I think, you know what? That is a good conversation for another podcast. We were talking about the women who are at some part of a divorce journey and how to meet people where they're at when you haven't experienced this. You haven't mastered that. But
And
how
don't
to,
want.
right. But you can still guide and facilitate and help them where they're at, meeting people where they're at when you don't identify with exactly where they're at.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. One needs to just take baby steps, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's
And I think that could be actually two different conversations, probably good for story makers, because I feel like we just did like a live coaching session for First and Life Coach Collective. But I think we should have a different conversation. Maybe one is about what's it like to just take action now and take baby steps to start thinking about a foundation for something for the future and how you've done that. And then maybe the other one is a conversation. Maybe it's a little bit down the road after you've kind of worked with these women you're talking to right now, and we have a conversation because there's a lot of women. It's part of why I started my business is I want to help support women who are single moms who find themselves after supporting a husband for decades alone and wondering, now what do I do?
Yeah.
Like all of these situations that women find themselves in, because I was raised by a mom in that situation. And I saw like how hard her life was, and she had nothing in her mind. She had nothing to give. And she was fully responsible for 3 kids with somebody who didn't want any of us, didn't want to be a dad and didn't want to be a husband. And I'm like, you know what? We just deserve support and encouragement and community and equipping and encouragement. Like we give that and pour it out to everybody and then don't always receive it from anybody. And then even when people pour it into us, we are not used to receiving. So we resist it and we can't absorb what has been poured in. And I'm like, you know what? If I could just help women heal and understand the truth about their identity, purpose, and belonging, and find out that some of them could start a business really cheaply with the little, like, all you need is a phone.
Yeah.
You can coach over the phone.
Yes.
And
actually, I found that ladies really prefer a phone call than meeting up with someone.
It's so hard. Who has time to like leave
and exactly. And then you have to like buy the $6 cup of coffee or whatever, and that just do it. So
yeah.
So that's been good. And also just still interested in planning to open my home more to coaching situations as that those opportunities arise.
Yeah, I think you're already doing it to some degree. I don't think it would be hard for you to offer group coaching in your home.
That's a good idea. I had not thought about that in a while.
So one thing is you're spending the same amount of time, but you can lower the cost for people because you're creating the same amount of value in one space that you don't have to pay to rent or anything.
Right.
And you are spending the same amount of time creating the same amount of value doing it once, but it's serving multiple people at once. So you can lower the price because while they get the same value,
Yeah,
they actually they actually get more value.
because they're relating to the others as well.
Right. And a lot of times people learn so much more from somebody else getting coached than if they were getting coached because they can contextualize it. But they're also not in like the hot spot, like the chair in the middle where everybody, but also they get community, like connections, time with other women and peer support and a relationship outside of the group coaching.
Yeah, I need to think about that again. It was last January that I put out some feelers about a group coaching session, and I got a new client, but she wanted to be one-on-one. And I got one other person who said, yeah, I'll do it. But I'm not going to talk in front of people. She said, I'll do it just because it's you. And so anyway, I put that on the back burner because I did get a new client, and it just seemed like the ones that I reached out to really preferred one-on-one. But if I could figure out the logistics of that, if there was a daytime situation, that would be good.
So you could spend let's just say you could tell yourself, well, within the next 6 months, I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
Or you can spend the same amount of energy and say, I'm going to make a decision about this in the next week.
Yeah. And I'm also trying to hone in on my ICA as far as age goes. And that really fluctuates because I've got all ages on my email and people on the reels, So,
what do you think the youngest age is?
The youngest? Well, the youngest would be probably my youngest daughter, who's 25.
Perfect. Your ICA is 25 and up.
Oh, I can make it that broad?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Does your ICA is like married?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, people get married at 25.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is if you're coaching somebody who's 50, you're coaching on somebody who you're having to respond to where they find themselves in marriage. When you coach somebody who's 25 and married, you're helping them to mitigate and prepare. Yeah. You're coaching at different stages of marriage.
Yeah.
And relationship and knowledge of themselves and their spouse. So you've got a very different person, but you're totally able to coach both of them.
Right. Good.
They're just, they have different pain points.
Right.
But you can help both of them. And so if you just pick like married and up, that's how old she is.
Married and up. I like it. That's good.
And remember, like doing, looking at your niche and your ideal client avatar, that is all to help you create content and offers and develop your marketing so that so it's a marketing method. Okay. It's not a coaching method.
I see.
Okay. So it's helping you understand this particular group of people, your audience of clients, not necessarily an audience of like Instagram followers. Right. Because they're not all engaged. So they're not all your ideal audience, but they are your audience. And and the people on your email list, they're going to fluctuate. But your ideal client she's a married woman. And also part of what makes her ideal is she will pay you. Not only can she, but she wants to.
Yeah.
Your ideal client pays you
That's
to be her coach.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking for.
Yep. They're out there. And I will say, like, one of my greatest moments of like, I will always look at is I remember where I was when I was sitting at my desk and I had this Post-it note and it said, and my desk at the time was in the corner of my bedroom. I just had it like that was my office, right? And I just moved things around, and the desk was too close to the chair, and I had to finagle everything around to make it happen. But it didn't matter. I had a desk. It was legit. And then I had a stack of Post-it notes, and I wrote on one of them, "My clients are coming." And I wrote it and I didn't believe it. And then one day I looked at it and I went, wow, I actually believe that. They are out there. They are coming. They don't know me yet. They haven't found me yet. I haven't found them. They don't know it, but they are out there. And that moment of belief really changed things for me, because then I became the person who operated from that belief instead of the one who said, for the rest of my life, it's crickets.
Yeah.
You know,
That's good.
if you believe like it's crickets forever, then you act like there's crickets. And nobody wants a coach who coaches crickets.
Yeah, I really don't think that. I really think they're out there. It's how to bridge the gap between the ones who keep clicking on that email, reading it over and over. You know, I know you're out there. You're just one click away, you know?
Right.
So, just recently I put on my email, you know, what it would look like to coach with me. And I put 3 steps, you know, this is what we would do. So hopefully just trying to get them a little more clear about what that looks like.
Yeah. Well, just making sure you have I know that in your email at the bottom, it says, you know, like you have a CTA, a call to action there. And that's good. And maybe do you have some lead magnets people can sign up for where they get little free downloadable things?
I do not. That would be a good thing to work on.
And you use Flowdesk like I do.
Mm-hmm.
That's where your email service provider is. And so that's where all my lead magnets are there, right? And so that lead magnet doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It can be a 1-page download with some powerful questions you can ask yourself, or a short devotional, or think about the top 3 pain points that your clients, you think that they're facing, and then give them a scripture and an example, a little testimony, build their faith, and then give them some small steps they can take. And then you create a form inside of Flowdesk, and that's a landing page where you collect their email address. And obviously, your email list can have this without having it, you know, you already have their email list, their address, right? But you can put that link to that form everywhere, put on your social media and in your bio and everything. And that collects email addresses, but also gives them something in exchange for their email address. So it's not free because they're giving your email address too. Right. But then you're building out, because in your email address, that's where people are going to learn more from you. And one day, that one woman, 2 years later, is going to say, now's the time. I'm ready. I want this right now. And I know her, and I've followed her for 2 years. I've been learning, and now's the day. And she's going to click, and she's going to schedule. And in one session, she's going to have transformation. But lead magnets are a great way to, 1, build your email list, but also 2, you can serve a lot of people by creating one piece of value, you know?
Right.
It doesn't have to be fancy either. Don't spend a bunch of time on it. Done is better than perfect, right?
I like it.
Well, you got this.
Well,
You're doing a great job.
I hope you have something in here you can use, but I
Well,
appreciate
great.
all my notes that I've received.
It's so good because we're talking about a lot of the things that coaches are struggling with. There's just
Yeah.
these are all pain points that every coach is saying this to themselves at some point or another, Everybody deals with imposter syndrome to some degree. But that's just not a thing that goes away
No, it
with
does.
season.
Right.
You know what gets rid of imposter syndrome? Jesus' truth. And then believing it.
Yeah.
So it's, that's something we do like when we have listing prayer in like a coaching session and I work with somebody and we go, and Jesus is like, let's deal with this lie that you're believing, that you're not enough, that you're an imposter, that it's only me and not any of you involved, or you'll never be this or that. And all those lies, we just kind of like take all of those lies and we call them imposter syndrome. But then we just put them at the foot of the cross. We put them in the hands of Jesus. And then we go, I'm going to exchange these lies for the truth. So what's the truth, Lord? We pull the root out, which looks like a dandelion root. We're not going to mow the dandelion over. We're going to pull the root out. And then we're going to go, I'm not an imposter. He is. The enemy is the imposter. And God is the creator. And the enemy can only pervert and twist what's been created. He can only make a counterfeit. And I'm not the imposter. The enemy is projecting onto me because it keeps me separate and it keeps me from walking in the truth. And if he can keep me locked in that lie, he will. And if I keep agreeing with him, I keep giving him the power in it. So the only thing that breaks down imposter syndrome is trading that lie for the truth and hearing what Jesus says, and then believing it and living from that instead. Every time the enemy shoots that fiery dart of, who are you? That's what he said to Eve.
Yeah.
Who are you? Like, do you think he really told you that? Like, is that what he really said? Is he really giving you everything, or is he withholding from you? Is he actually a good dad? I don't know. He just wants to speak to you that you're an imposter. You're not who you say you are, and neither is God.
Yeah.
It's just a light from the pit of hell. That's all.
That's all.
It's a shadow. It's a stupid thing, and God's bigger than that. And he's like, yeah, I know. But you're not an imposter. You are an original design.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your encouragement and your tools as always. And
love working with you. I'm really excited for your next season.
Thank you. It's going to be good. And I believe that. I really do.
Yeah. And you get to do it while you still get to be grandma. Get to be Lolly.
I do. And I love it. And love showing my girls that, you can be a committed mom and you can still transform, different times, multiple life. So,
yeah. You are a mom, but you're not only a mom.
Right.
There's so much to you. It's valuable. I'm excited. I'm happy for you to have that. You're creating a legacy, because what you show them, they're going to show their kids, and you're really impacting an entire generational line.
Thank you, guys. So,
right. Good job.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for talking with me and coming onto the podcast. I so appreciate your time. And yeah, excited to have you again. I don't know, how many episodes have we done? How many conversations have we had? Maybe number 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think so.
That's a fun little journey.
Yes, very good. All right. Well, thank you. And I'll be checking it out on Spotify.
Anywhere you listen.
God bless.
Okay, if you are ready to turn your story and wisdom into impact and income, go to sterlingandstonementoring.com and let's get started together.